same type of program, but again, we're very happy to have you guys back with us. Hope everybody had a great holiday weekend, and I hope everybody had a restful time. Like I said, last week we were not here, kind of the last week of last week of August, first week of September, kind of that rollover in the middle. As you guys know, I had my birthday in that time frame as well, so it was nice to kind of unwind a little bit, get a little bit of day travel in, and again, but we are back, and there is definitely some movement inside of the markets, and some big headlines, some pretty big headlines. So for those of you that are new with us this week, definitely welcome to the group. Before we dive in, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about myself, and one, kind of give you one caveat. And the way that I look at charts is a little bit different. So if you are new here, you've probably never seen it before. I'm a price action trader, so I read the way that candlesticks are kind of painted in and kind of the reactions off of different areas. You won't see a whole lot of indicators, and you will hear me use different terminology. One that I throw out there a whole lot of times is the Harry Potter trade. I actually did some mentoring last night with a student, and he's like, "Man, I see it everywhere." I was like, "Yeah, once you start seeing it, it's one of those things that you will see all over the place." So I'm going to use different type of terminology. My goal each week is to give you guys kind of one golden nugget to take home with yourselves, whether it be a trade setup, whether it be some type of new type of strategy or some way to refine your strategy. But each week I want you guys to get at least 1% better. And I figure every week, again, that's how we get you guys on your path to becoming better Nadex and overall market traders. So with that said, for who I am, I'm the president and CEO of Keep Trading Simple, and my mission is basically to simplify trading and remove a lot of the distractions. There's so many of them out there. There's traps left and right. Again, retail traders, we fall into the same holes all the time. I'm not like a second or third or fourth generation trader. My dad was a programmer for IBM. He had nothing to do with the overall markets, but I was always drawn towards it. So I started off like many of you out there did, right? Getting books, and I started in the late 90s. 99, 2000 timeframe is when I really started to focus and get live trading accounts and start learning how to trade. Started with traditional stocks and options, kind of found futures a couple years later, found forex, ended up obviously finding Nadex and binaries a few years ago as well, and it was another arrow for me in my quiver. I love creating systems. I love pulling them apart, putting them back together again, figuring out how to tweak them, make them better. So that's kind of where I've came from. I actually worked for one of the big three advisory banks. Wanted to kind of look at it from the inside. Always figured that if I could be a financial advisor, I could learn the inside secrets that someone from the outside would never know, and learn very, very fast that they actually don't have any secrets, that they know less than the average person. They're kind of directed on what to tell people, but they're nothing but just salespeople. So left that industry, decided that I needed to come out and teach people how to trade, and that's why I do what I do now. I have a group that I teach. I love doing these presentations for Nadex, and like I said, my goal is for you guys to get at least 1% better every single week that you watching. Have lucky enough that I've traveled around the U.S. and Canada, so it's been very, very cool. I do need to update this picture. Obviously, my wife and I she pretty much looks the same. I look a little bit older, obviously. I have a COVID beard like many men do right now. If we don't leave the house, it's not that I've ever left the house, but COVID beards are a thing. And both the boys are now 10, so they're a little bit older. And actually, the little one she's the bossy one. I know want this. She's a little queen already, and it's crazy. She's only 2, so I'm in so much trouble. It's just nuts. But that's who I am, guys. So again, you'll see kind of my analysis is not based off of really difficult, hard to read things. It really dives into price action. And again, you can see that, again, that's what we do. So let's cover what we're going to, let's go into the risk disclaimer before I dive into the agenda or any charts. So trading on Nadex involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors. Trading can be volatile, and investors and risk losing the cost of the transaction, including fees. The information presented within this presentation is for informational and education purposes only and should not be considered an offer or solicitation to buy or sell any financial instrument on Nadex or elsewhere. Any trading decisions you make are solely your responsibility and at your own risk. Past performance is not necessarily indicative of future results, and Nadex contracts are based on underlying asset classes including forex, stock index futures, and commodity futures. And Nadex is a registered trademark of the IG Group. So with that said, first things first, we will cover the upcoming news events. For those of you that have been here before, you know that I absolutely love news trading. It's one of the things that I feel ideally is, thank you very much, I appreciate the late birthday wishes. I love news trading. I think news trading is one of the things that Nadex matches and suits the most, and unfortunately is talked about the least, right? So I'm going to go over that and talk about potential opportunities this week for big news releases with high potential market movement. All right. Also, what we're going to do after that is we will dive into the actual indices and check those out. Obviously, the indices are extremely important. They're what kind of our economy is kind of gauged upon, right? How well they're doing. And I'll give you some opinions about that. And then we'll dive into forex. There's been some absolutely crazy movement in the currency pairs this morning, which again is a little bit funky because again, there's not a lot of news this week. There's some big things, but a lot of it has been quotes and news releases from media outlets, right? So just because we don't have an economic news release doesn't mean there is not earth-shattering, but market-moving based news. Okay, so we'll cover that, and then again we will cover commodities last but not least. I don't know if you guys are watching oil, but oil has just been crazy. Some of the levels that we talked about 2 weeks ago, things that were holding to the bottom side have just been dropping. And last week I was like, wow, I can't believe we broke through here, and things were going lower. So again, we'll kind of look at all those things. All right. So let's dive over. I'm going to actually pull something in real quick. If you guys didn't see it as well, also next week we have a special education summit. It's a 3-day event. I'm actually headlining day one. There'll be three. I mean, there's many speakers each day, but again, there are two amazing speakers that I feel extremely blessed to be kind of in an education summit with. One of them is actually a guy who was I think he was my second forex mentor. So he was a guy that I really, again, he's a guy that helped me really tighten up my system and hold myself accountable. I don't know that he knows it. He probably doesn't even remember me because he's a bigger name out there. But it's funny. He's actually a guy that I used to mentor under. And one of the things that I had to do with him still today is something that I talk about as far as accountability, not necessarily trading, but as far as accountability goes. But you guys will see the links inside of the chat right now. And again, you should be getting, I think, email invitations to that on the next day, next 24 hours. Anyway, I've drug in Forex Factory. You guys know I like to use Forex Factory. I love the scanner function at the top, particularly as a currency trader. And if you guys look up here, you don't have to be currency traders, but look at this. The pound is just on fire. Well, I guess it's going down in flames, right? It's dropping 124 and 180 in the last 24 hours. And again, this is why this pair is known as the beast, the Widowmaker, right? Because it can move. It can really, really move. And dollar CAD up 92 is actually quite a large bit of movement today. All right. Now, if you're wondering why those things are moving so much and why I'm making such a big deal about it, it comes back to one word, and this is kind of what I'm talking about. If you see here, these are the economic news releases for the week, and nothing in here says the B word, right? Go down to where the latest news is, and you're going to see something right here. No deal Brexit is the likely outcome of the trade talks. You guys remember this thing, Brexit? It was all the rage for like 2 years, right? That's all we heard about was Brexit, Brexit, Brexit. And it was leading the pound all over the place. Well, guess what? The trade talks are not going well. Now, Brexit doesn't really end. I guess the hard exit doesn't actually occur till the end of this year, but they've been unable to come up with any type of a deal. Now, the CAD has been rallying the last couple of weeks, really for the last month. It's, it's had a week here and there where it has pulled back a little bit, but for the most part, the pound has been doing very, very well, okay? Not having trade deals in place, though, does definitely hurt. Now, does it mean that one's not going to get done? I mean, we're in September. The hard exit is not till December. Could they come up with something at the absolute last minute, totally procrastinating until the end? Absolutely. Absolutely. But what do you see? Again, you're seeing major, major movement because one person who is a former EU chief says that, hey, listen, this is probably going to be a no deal. Great. And that's why you're getting this movement that is almost, heck, this pound yen is double its average 2 range. So it's averaging about 90 pips per day. In the last 24 hours, it's done 2 days worth of movement in 1 day. Okay. That's a lot. That's definitely a lot. All right. So looking for this week, as you can see, there's nothing really today. Tomorrow, there really wasn't much. Tomorrow morning early, we have some data for Canada, the overnight rate. Now, it's not expected to change, but sometimes some of the things that they say in the rate statement could lead us into some movement. The one thing that I like about this the most, and again, if you're not a currencies trader, it's not going to be as big of a deal tomorrow, but the fact that it's coming out at 10 o'clock, I love 10 o'clock. It's my absolute favorite time to trade. It's great for reversals, so it could potentially give us some reversals inside of the dollar CAD in Nadex pairs. So again, it is kind of one of those things that is on my radar. Now, you will notice we are missing one thing for tomorrow, and that's crude oil. As you guys know, for you commodity traders out there, when the market is closed on Monday, oil is moved to Thursday. So this week, Thursday, we'll have not only oil, inventories, but also natural gas, and everything kind of gets moved around time-wise. So it's a little bit different. But Thursday is chock full of news. I know it's only Tuesday, and I'm already talking about Thursday, but there's just no other official economic releases. But we have the EU monetary policy statement. Now, they're already at zero. They can't really cut it any more than zero. What they say and what recovery looks like, and again, any mention of stimulus, it immediately weakened the euro. Okay, so that's kind of, we're starting off really, really strong with 745. And then 830, we have PPI. Now, unemployment claims obviously is very, very important. But this number, and I'm going to click this, you guys can see it. Do you guys see this? PPI, the Producer Price Index. It's a leading indicator of consumer inflation. Okay? It's the change in the price of goods finished and services sold by producers. That's goods and services. Again, leading source of consumer inflation. Why am I talking about this? Well, what is that shiny metal that everybody said was going to 8 million, right? Gold. Why do people say that gold is going up? Because of inflation fears. So we have a month over month, again, very kind of near to the pulse of what inflation looks like. And it's supposed to be lower than what it was last time. So if we don't have inflation coming into the market, I don't know, what does that do to gold, right? Kind of interesting scenario there. So again, that's why this is a very important number. This should actually be read, in my opinion. I don't know why it's not. But again, very important. Then we have crude oil. Again, great way to trade Nadex. If you guys are unfamiliar with trading oil, if you're doing it in the futures market, it can be very, very dangerous. It costs a lot of money. It can move very, very quick on you. Again, using something like Nadex is perfect for that. So again, crude oil should absolutely, and again, when should you trade it? Well, guess what? 11 o'clock is a perfect time for you to come look at this in Nadex, okay? We know that that's there. Then we have Macklin speaking, and then we have the ECB president speaking as well for the rest of the day. Friday, we have Eurogroup meeting. So it'll be a day of headlines based from the news as well as CPI. Again, CPI, what is it? It's the price of goods and services, right? Consumer prices account for the majority of overall inflation. Again, another inflation reading. So again, could be another rough day for gold. And that's how we end the week out. So for the most part, there's not a lot, but there's some very targeted, kind of very pointed areas we can go into. Now, just because we don't have these official economic releases doesn't mean that this hottest story, could not be big. Like things like this: the U.S. penalizes Chinese companies accused of using forced labor. Yeah, this kind of can get interesting when you start poking back and forth, right? That's where the dollar Swiss becomes big. Legal department, the UK's legal department has quit. Johnson looking into. All right, so the UK is having some problems. So again, important. Gold down on the back of stronger U.S. dollar. Are they down on the back of the strong? Is it the dollar that's causing this to drop? Or is it the market already starting to prepare for this number? See where it's going? This is the forecast already that's coming out. So yeah, they're saying, hey, we're seeing less inflation. And what are you seeing down here? Gold is already starting to get weaker. Okay. U.S. threats to decouple from China and the greenback strength, yada, yada, yada. And then again, you see the no-deal Brexit. So keeping yourself kind of pegged over here is what's providing a lot of these opportunities. All right. So let's go over and let's pull some charts. Let's go into, bam, let's go to, let's actually start with the NQ. Wow, look at this drop. So the last time that we met would have been on, let's see, August 25th, right? So going back to this one, let's see, August 25th would have been right here, okay? So we were still looking for another run up, and we got a high in there, but look at the collapse and the fall that this has taken now. It's in a very interesting place because we had levels marked off down here, the 111.18, the 11.041. These are levels where we said, hey, listen, if price could come back into these levels, we'd be looking for potential longs. Now, this is actually one of those kind of Harry Potter trades, those breakouts to the top side. Bringing it down to an hourly, though, things are a little bit different. You can kind of see that we have zones down here, and really at this point, after this big, enormous collapse down, we're kind of looking for some help here, right? We're kind of saying, hey, this thing is beat up. Has much really changed? I mean, if there's not inflation, rates will stay low. The economy is coming back online. The numbers have been good. And again, why is this dropping, right? Well, if you've been in this thing long, right, eventually you need to take some profit and you need to start selling. And that's why a lot of these things occur. I mean, I wouldn't say that anything in the economy right now is overly super negative right now. We're not seeing anything. I mean, unemployment numbers were good. Non-farm was great last week. So is there anything that justifies this type of drop? And the answer is not really. I mean, I don't really see too much, right? So there's a number of different things in here that we could use as far as, where's the bottom, okay? One easy way to do that is to kind of look down a little bit lower and take it down to lower time frames. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Let's make sure that my timing is correct for those of you that can see. If you look right here, and I don't know if you can see this or not, but what time did I tell you in the morning is typically a great time to trade? My favorite time, right? 10 o'clock. As you can see, this right here actually kicked in a little bit early between that 9 and 10 time frame. Okay, this was a turning point bouncing off a lower level. So what I'm really looking for, with no news today, I'm really kind of looking for some stabilization in this pair so I can get kind of clean entries and exits. Now, looking above, I do have a zone up here on the 30-minute. Let me go to an hourly, see if it's any cleaner. Kind of, right? So I'm looking for areas if we have a pullback. So I'm looking at right now, probably, and again, not this entire bit here, probably something along these lines. Hold on, let me change the colors of this so it doesn't totally confuse everybody. There's an area that I'm looking for right now. Let me pull this and peel this back to here. Okay. All right. Actually, I just don't want it to. All right. So this is an area right now with price dropping down. We've seen a pullback, a punch in again, and then another collapse out of again. So that's a level that I'm looking for any type of reversal, probably later in the week, right? If we're able to get up into here to the 11,758, could be a great area. Now I need to go back and I know the price has been almost near these lines. So let's see, what do we have? Let's move this out. Really, this is just an old level. So what I would do is I would probably move this down into here. This down here, because I'm really looking for, I want to get some clean entries in. Off. This over. Click this. Click this. That zone is good. That as well. And click the. There we go. All right. So I didn't want to erase that one, but there. All right. And let's mark this off here. All right, so these are the two areas right now that I'm looking top and bottom to kind of bracket off of. Okay, I'm looking at, again, my numbers are slightly off. I know they're not on the bottom here. This is ECN based data, so it's slightly off of what you guys would have. But 11,767 and 10,901 at the bottom is kind of the top and bottom areas where I'm looking for kind of reversals. Now, will it happen today? There's not really a whole lot more news, so I would say if anything, it looks like it wants to kind of continue to grind or even just consolidate. Again, buyer stepped in here a little bit lower at this point. We're kind of standing there, kind of in no man's land right now, right? Up here, I'm looking to get long. Short. Down here, I'm looking to get long, and we're kind of floating around in the middle. So either of those two, top or bottom, looks good for me. The S&P, as you can see last week, this was one of those confirmation entries we had talked about. I drew it almost to the exact T. It just missed it. But again, this is that kind of confirmation pattern. Let's move that. And that was a level that we had talked about before. All right, kind of the same idea. So let's pop this back to a 4-hour. And as we can see, we have zones over here that we were looking for. Let's see. I'm just trying to get some clean levels in here. Bounced into there. So let's take it off of. I'm going to mark this zone off here, but we're going to go back and kind of dial this one down. I'm going to go from here down to. I really want to kind of check this out. And let's drop this down to hourly. Let's click this off and let's go back and see what we got in here. All right, so inside of this zone. So it looks like we got a decent level here, right? And it looks like we also have a minor level here. All right, let's go across. Let's bring this down. Let's mark these two off. As you can see, we've already bounced off of that one right there. And here's number 2. Now, I don't want to delete it. I don't want to erase everything. So those are kind of along the lines that we're looking for. As you can see, there's been a slight bounce. With the way that this moved down, let's see, can we get a clean entry on this one? Yeah, I can kind of get one in here. There. And you can see 2 nice little entries off that on the 30-minute. So this is what we're using for tops and bottoms right now. We're using approximately 34.44. And there's actually 2 levels below where they look like they could be, potential bounce areas. One of them being down here at 33.21. And the other one, which we just actually bounced off, if you can see, we took the bounce here back up again, was right around the 33.37. With it being 12 o'clock, I expect it to be rather slow right now. This is actually setting up for a pretty interesting end of day rally. I don't know if you guys watch this. I actually have one of my students, actually two of my students, that love the end of the day rally. I don't know if you guys ever watch this or have been watching it. I typically don't trade it as much. I'm typically running around with boys' activities by that time, and I'm typically done for the day. But they love the end of the day rally. If we can get to either of these levels, the 33.37 and the 33.21, in that last half hour, there could be an interesting rally off either of these two to the top side. I don't know if I'm willing to take either of these two short yet. There are a few levels in here, and again, be very cautious with any side of these, upside targets. There's small levels in here, like there's a tiny level right there. You can see that basically, kind of came back and was tested as well, right? And you can see that was kind of tested. So that's kind of a profit target that I would be watching out for later on. This 33.99 inside of the S&P. Okay. A couple of different ways you can play this one as well. Again, remember there are knockouts for the S&P, so we're good there. The Dow. So the Dow, we had this was a little Harry Potter action in here. We'll remove this now. Let's go up to a larger time frame, see what we got. All right, so you can see here's that 4-hour level we're looking at. Down here, the 27.505. And again, this was back on 8:20. So we were definitely at, here's the chart school button right here. You can see that this dropped all the way down here. We missed it by about 10, right? So your entry started, you're good, okay? So we took a nice little bounce. So we already know that we got some buyers sitting below us. Let's see if we can find them here. Yes, we can. All right, so let's see. Let's put the overlay on there, right there. So here is the 4-hour level, right there. Right there. All right. Let's see. Is there a short in here? All right, there's a little sneaky level sitting right here, in there. There's a small one here too. We got a couple little sneaky levels sitting in here. So I would say this one is a clear run back up again. I would probably use, if I had to box off top and bottoms for this one, I'd probably box off 28.507, and then bottom side, this 27.576 wouldn't be bad. As you can see, we've taken a bounce off that level. It is an hourly as well as a 4-hour level. As you can see here, the hourly level actually got dinged. This box here, and then the white box, the gray dot. I'm sorry, the green dotted box is the 1-hour demand zone. The white box is the 4-hour. So it's a decent zone here on the bottom side. It's already doing kind of that jump that I was looking for, the end of day rally. Trying to think if I would take this long off any of these two areas, and I don't feel like I would. I don't know. I like this zone down here, and like I said, I don't have the knockouts out, but if there's a knockout down here with a little, limited risk, if we can pull back into the zone, this is probably not a bad level. Like I said, being a 4-hour zone, it's got a nice, it's got nice bounce opportunity. But I would say top and bottom wise for me, the 28.507 is an area where I'm looking to get short. Remember, we do have that Harry Potter trade up top. So if we're able to break through with 28.593, again, just like I've marked off on the other ones, if we can get back up here this week for any bit of news, again, look for a punch through this level, look for a pullback to the level, and then look for a punch higher. Okay. Again, I don't know, what day it's going to hit or when it's going to come here. I mean, it may be, 3 weeks from now. But again, we're looking for some type of a bounce here. That's what that Harry Potter trade is off of that level. If we can break through the 28.593. All right. So again, I like this one long for right now. Looks like it's pretty good. Again, we were into some bumps coming up a little bit in the road. But again, this could lead into a nice end of day rally. Okay. Let's go across the Aussie and see what we have in some of these currency pairs. As you can see, the Aussie as well just kind of bounced off a level right here. It's 72.20. You guys wouldn't have known about this level. That was actually one we set up last week. Here's that Harry Potter trade that we had talked about last week. There was your bounce. There was your push back up again. There was your retest, and there was your push through. Actually, this is 9.3. So yeah, you guys missed this one too. This was just for the other group. So same principle though. Same principle, guys. The same type of bounce. But you're seeing the same idea here. So I'd be a little cautious here. We do have a level sitting right there that I'd be looking for. Let's get this out so we are clean. And again, you can see this trade is actually dinged twice now. So let's clear this one off. And remove that. So right now, what I would say is we have clean levels sitting up here, right? 73.33 isn't bad. There is a level here, and again, we could trade this, potentially one more time. Again, we've been in this level; it's been tested. It got front run, but I do think there's probably a decent trade. And again, the way that this looks, it looks like we can get a nice little run out of it. I do like this to the top side though, and again, see how fast this dropped in here? That's typically a good telltale sign. So another trade that you guys could be looking for is a Harry Potter coming out of this zone. It's rather small risk. It's only about 10 pips. You're able to get at least 30 pips in on the profit target on the top side. And again, depending on when this actually triggers and when this hits, makes a big difference, right? Aussie dollar, do they have 2-hour binaries? The answer is yes. Okay, the answer is yes. If you're talking about 30 pips, how many binaries difference is there between those two? Quite a bit. So there's a long potential coming through on that one. The 2770 at this, or the 7220. I'd be a bit cautious now. We've already actually rallied off of that about 21 pips this morning. That's pretty decent movement already. And again, you guys can see that one clicked at that 9-10 o'clock this morning. So right when the U.S. traders came online. A little bit later, but again, holiday kind of gets a little screwy as far as the 10 o'clock goes. So watch out for that one. But again, looking for this one a bit long. I'll just use this here. Something along these lines, playing that retracement back to the top side could be an interesting possibility for later on this week. Okay, keep that one marked off. Now going into Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen, you can see over the hourly we had a zone set up. Now, this is also an example of that kind of Harry Potter, but it also coincided with a burst to the downside up here at 77.61. This one ended up triggering, let's see, this one triggered at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning. This one coincided with the European Open. It's had a monster drop back down to the downside, okay, at this point. So again, the same principle that we use for many of the trade setups. What we can do with this now, though, is a little bit more interesting. So I'm going to take this one off now because it's already triggered and we are well on our way. This one we can remove. It looks like still we have a zone here, but I'm going to actually refine that a little bit. Let's bring this back up. This a little bit. We're going to use this new high here, and we're actually going to refine this down a little bit. I'm going to find a really, really clean zone here. Ooh, that's going to be hard to do. Handle. We're gonna front run this a little bit here. Drop this guy right here. Again, we have this nice basing in here, the red, green, red confirmation, a retest of the zone, and then boom, a starting collapse away. So we're gonna move this up to here and keep that on the radar for later. Actually, you know what? We'll just delete that. This is good. All right, so let's pull this here. That would not be a green. This would be a red. So waiting for a zone to hit there. And that is coming in at approximately 78.22. There is also another level sitting in this region right here. And again, we've kind of hit that right now. And again, that is 77.61. So there are two topside targets. Now, bottom side, let's see what we got here. Refresh this for being over the weekend. All right, so it looks like we have a zone here, but it's not really the best of zones. Mark this guy off here. And we're going to mark here. Change these. Let me change this color real quick to green style. Let's change this one as well. We're going to take this and move this to fine. All right, so look, we got a level sitting here. We're going to put that on. All right, so here's our top and bottom for this one for the week. Again, if we can get down to 76.33. We do have a short entry here looking for kind of a Harry Potter lower. And again, I'm going to mark a white on this one, and here's why. Okay. Box. Give me the box. Not going to let me get the box. All right. The box, I'm going to change this white, and here's why. This zone right here, it's going to do one of two things. It's either going to be a bounce or it's going to be stabilization for the new short. Okay. So what we need to do here is we need to get a confirmation bounce off of it, right? And again, what does that look like? It's a hit, a push for it, and then a pullback, and then we go long. Okay. So that is a kind of a reversal play. If it just continues to punch through, again, if it goes all the way through, we do not get our long entry in, Then what are we looking for? We're looking through a punch to the bottom. So again, it punches through, it punches back up, and then we look for a continued push lower. So again, there's our confirmation lower. Here's what our confirmation would look like higher, right? A bounce, a retest, and a punch higher. Okay, so those are our two options with this zone. We're not going to take this one as a number one entry or kind of a first hit. We want to make sure that this one is giving us confirmation in either of those two directions. All right, so 76.33, if you want to set an alert or a trigger, that would be where you want to put it to know that we are entering the zone. Now, one thing we do have to say on the top side is we do have to watch where the candles form. If they come down and base sideways right here, right before the zone, not necessarily something we want to take long. So we'd like a clean entry. If we can get this in like one or two candles, just straight down once the U.S. traders come back from lunch, that would be the ideal situation. Or if we just get some sideways movement, and then tonight with any type of Australian news, again, a punch down would be a great level. But 76.33, I think, is something that you need to keep, under your radar. All right. All right. Let's drop across to Euro Yen. So Euro Yen, you've seen that this one is just completely collapsing through the floor. Now we had a level here, and we mentioned that this was a level that we were watching out for because again, it hit and spiked, and again, this is back on the 25th was right in here, right? So we had marked this one off. You guys had seen this one; it was right here. And as you can see, it was a level that we mentioned going long on. We ended up hitting 2 days later and exploding forward, and ended up hitting it again 3 days after our last chart school meeting, right? Our last analyzing session. Both of them have launched forward. Now, at this point, we knew this is test number 3. Look at this. Front run, waiting for this to collapse, and we finally got through that collapse, and we went down to a lower area. So looking at it on the 4-hour, you can see, what did we bounce off of? Zones, right? I'm going to delete these now. We had a zone sitting down here, and we got super, super close to it, 24.61. We just missed it on the 4-hour. I do think that's a legitimate zone. Last time the price was there, it was after a large pop to the downside, a stabilization, and kind of a punch out of it. It missed it by a little tiny bit, so it's one of those ones that would have been hard to trigger exactly, right? Come on, give me the thing. Here's I don't know if you guys can see this or not. Here's where the zone. Oh, I'll just use this one. Here's where the hit was. So again, we just missed it. I would say my opinion right now is this one is bearish. It will come down. It will grab some of those levels. Ideally, again, you guys saw it earlier. When we click on this, not tomorrow, but Thursday, we have all this European data coming in Thursday morning. So with the European data coming in super early, I do think that this is something that we got to kind of be watching for, at least on a 4-hour. If we can kind of maintain and stabilize, being down in this 24.35, 24.18, again, price has not gone lower. It's been pushed away and then got front run. It didn't even come down and touch this level again. I think we need to be watching out for this entire level from here to here, I think are important for the European news. Why? Again, if they talk about, the economy's recovering better, or anything that really kind of gives any type of European strength, right? Euro strength, this is a great area to pop out of. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen it, right? I mean, in fact, we saw it in here. Again, what do we have? Stabilization, wicks ascending, price came down and touched it. Boom, buyers stepped in. Buyers came down, stepped in again. Came down, put in a drop, a base, and again, it wasn't quick. And again, explosion off. Fast drop in, boom, explosion again. So really this area here from 24.60 to 24, really this entire 60 pip area, what I would do is, again, if we can maintain and kind of have a slow day tomorrow, going into European news, I think these are great opportunities for us to be able to get long later on this week. And the way you trade it is kind of see where we're at level-wise, drop it down to an hourly, kind of go back and say, hey, listen, I know this is a hot spot. Let's go back and look and say, hey, listen, where is the correct zone at? Where is, where are we at currently with price? Where is the basing? And that way you can get much, much lower risk. Look for a 2-hour binary with this one as well. There shouldn't be too much premium cranked into this one, but a 2-hour binary, you're going to be looking at, it's 7:45, so it's pretty early. One way you can kind of protect yourself from the kind of premium that's baked in with news, again, it's 15 minutes later. There will be an initial reaction based off of this news. Play the counter reaction, right? If it's really, really great data, and you're like, hey, this will bring a lot of strength, and the price goes down, wait till it goes down so you can buy it cheaper before going long, okay? Get the retail trader out of the market first and then get it in a better spot, okay? So again, this could be probably an 8 to 10 binary in the morning, which would be the best one in the Euro Yen. and even potentially in the euro dollar. But again, we have we have US data coming in, so it's more of a euro yen as a kind of a safer way to play that one. But the opportunity will exist on both pairs. All right. Looking across to the pound yen. So pound yen is just collapsing. It's just dropping. Look at this thing. It's just collapsing. But where did it stop? Well, this is a 4-hour level, and what did it stop on? The 4-hour level. Okay, again, this is where buyers have been in the past. Buyers have stepped in again, as you guys can see on the 1 hour. We had some zones over here, and we talked about, hey, listen, we had this Harry Potter. We were talking about getting short, overtaking this area, and you guys can see if I go back, I'm going to put this line on. Where did it have some issues at? Right where our zone was. Look at this. I drew this area here. Look, it bounced and then came back and based. And where was that right here? That was at our entries. Okay, so these are two different Harry Potter trades that we had on. And again, this over here, this is what we set this Harry Potter last week. Right here is where we met last time, setting this zone and saying, hey, listen, if this gets short, we're looking to take this area over. I know it took 2 weeks, but the market waited for you to come back and then gave it to you this morning. Okay, now here, I'll extend the lines across. There was your Harry Potter trade. Right there. Here's where we met last week. There's your lines. What did it do? It bounced and based, didn't give us the entry, and then boom, came through and then dropped lower. Here was kind of a refined one that we did later on with my group, just slightly above. And again, there was your entry and there was your drop. So we finally have overtaken that area. And the question is, what do we do with this now? So we're in an area where most likely it's going to move sideways at this point. Again, why? How can I make that statement? How do I know that? Well, I know that the last time the price hit, it was a very, very fast drop and it supported itself and then kind of rallied off. Now, same thing. It dropped and it is now basing. It's kind of pulled back again. The candles turn red, but again, on an hourly basis, what does it look like? Right? We're getting some stabilization in that area. Now, it doesn't mean that it can't break through this level. What it's showing me is it needs more sellers to go lower. Now, here's the thing. Why did it do this? Why have we seen this much movement? Why have we seen in the last, really what, 6-7 hours since basically the European Open? Why have we seen 180 pips worth of movement when the daily ATR is only 136? And again, a lot of that is because of the last 2 days, right? Well, this is an emotional response, okay? An emotional response into a 4-hour level typically triggers a reversal, okay? Now, everybody knows that, again, how many more comments can we hear about, Brexit, probably not going to happen. Brexit's not going to happen, not going to happen. And again, these are all these emotional responses. Most times when you have an emotional response to somebody saying something or some type of news, you see a retracement back to where the origin was, okay? At this point, everybody knows Brexit's probably not going to happen because that's what the market is prepared for. So as things get back down to business and people realize that, hey, wait a second, we have all of September, all of October, all of November, and all of December. We have 4 months still for them to come up with a trade deal. And trust me, the UK knows that it would be bad not to have these trade deals in. It typically is set up for some type of reversal. Now, how can you play this one is a big question as well. Guess what? You have some limited risk when you start putting some Nadex positions on here, right? Because you only pay the cost to get into this position. So is there a reversal in here on the shorter time frame or on the smaller time frame? Yeah, probably. Again, there's basing in here. I'd like to see a consistent kind of color change, right? If we could see a green, red, green in a positive direction, that could be nice. I'm not as worried about this area. But as I do, I think that this is a decent level. It's about 137 pips. This is an area that I would be looking for some type of a retrace this week. Okay. Now the question is it coming in today? Probably not today, but could it come in tomorrow with a, reversal of fortune for the pound? Sure, absolutely. Right? There could be some statements or comments by Johnson or, somebody that, makes a comment about how we're stronger than we've ever seen. Again, we have European news on Wednesday. This is something by the end of the week I do think we could get right back up into that area. And I do think there are potential targets coming in. Again, targets up into this 139.46 range, which is about 150 pips to the top side. So again, some good movement. If you guys are night owls, if this just bases now and goes flat, this could be a very interesting setup for tomorrow morning, right, for the European Open. All right. Now looking at the pound dollar, also obviously collapsing down. We were looking for a bounce here and we didn't get it. It went back up, but we didn't get our bounce. Let's see what we got here. At this point, it's kind of the same story. Right, same story. I think this is an hourly. Yeah, you guys can see right here. Bounce off that hourly. So, same idea. I would say that again, this is a parabolic move to the downside because of the negative news about the pound. That again, what's going to happen? Oh, there's probably going to be a no trade. Areas where I'd be looking for targets is probably, I mean, again, this is an area here where we'll be seeing some testing. All right, I'm going to change this to not green. I'm going to change it to white. I'd be very cautious. If you're taking a long to play this reversal, I would say that profit targets need to be kind of in here. I think that is probably a safe area to get them. Let's see on the 30 minutes. Yeah, you can kind of see this as well, kind of an area bouncing out. There's more than enough room in here at this point. Again, any type of a break, and even maybe a break of this 130.67. Again, this is also a knockout base pair. I don't have my platform up right now, but there are probably knockout positions again to the top side. Just be cautious with any type of longs that you have. Make sure that you were out by 31.40, because again, that's where sellers have stepped in last time and really initiated this move down. You can see the red candle, the green candle, and the red. You can give us that kind of confirmation turn here. To the short side. So be cautious about that one. But we got plenty of room. I mean, that's about 95 pips. The ATR for this pair right now, again, this one is all jacked up because of the last couple of days as well. It says it's 130.39, but this one's typically like 80 or 90. So again, plenty of room to run there on this one. Okay, but again, emotional response. Look for the retrace to spike back up again, and again, kind of look for something along those lines. All right, Euro pound. All right, are you surprised the Euro pound is rallying? No, because it's pound weakness, right? Now, it's also rallied up into a zone. I think this one is also set for somewhat of a reversal. As you can see, we have a level up here at 90.53, and that's exactly what we run into. And the second we hit, we pushed down, we drove back up, and now we're putting in a red. It'll be very, very interesting to see. And again, we have about 20 minutes left here on this green candle. It does not look like it's going to make a new kind of high here, unless this thing gets really funky in the next 10 minutes, right? Right now, that would give us a red, a little bit of a green pullback. And that gives us the opportunity to have another red, showing us that we, again, have a confirmation color change off of a level that's on a higher time frame, right? And again, this is a 4-hour zone, but kind of refined down into the hourly. So what this one would look like, and again, you want to make sure that we have this one on at least a 1 to 3. Now, we wouldn't do it off that zone. We would do it off zone right here. You can see the 1 to 3 target, again, risking 1 to make 3 is in a great location. The 1 to 5 being here is a little bit low. I would probably put a profit target kind of sitting right there would be where the profit target would be. That would put us at approximately a 1 to 4 risk to reward ratio. I think that's probably not a bad level in this one. And again, Euro pound gives us a couple different options to trade this one. Again, not just binaries, guys. There are also again, there are also call spreads over there that you can trade on this one as well, depending on the floor and ceiling. I don't have it up there, but check this one. If this is a floor or ceiling, this could be a very, very interesting trade, particularly in the overnight, right? And again, if we can just kind of stabilize, maybe go up just a little bit further. Again, eat some of that premium out of there, get the European Open, take this for a reversal back to the downside, taking over kind of an area here. Taking over this. And again, kind of the same idea. Why would I say, why would I say that? Well, again, this is a very emotional response when we have 4 months before this problem is happening, right? So again, emotional response, retail trader play, looking for a reversal back to the origin of the move. Euro. Now you'll notice the euro does not have gigantic spikes. Why? Because it's going against the dollar. Now, we did have a level marked off here. There's 117.78. You can see that's what we bounced off of. It just kind of ground to the downside. Again, there's a bit of an entry here. It's grinding down. This zone has been hit a few times. I wouldn't say that this is the best takeoff point, right? I mean, like I said, it's hit here. It's hit pretty deep here again. It got front run a little bit. I don't love it. I mean, it was definitely an area we had to watch out for and have that be a target for us for any type of shorts positions that we had to put in. I would say right now, probably the cleanest entry. I mean, there is a zone right here that is not bad. That's coming in at approximately, 1822. You can see we've hit it and pushed lower. Obviously, 1854 is another one. Let's see what we got here. You can see there's all these flirting down here. I mean, honestly, we have these two trades set up. Again, we have the Harry Potter that we had drawn before. And then, again, here's the 25th. We talked about this level here. I would still say that, listen, we can carry this one across here and look for something along these lines. Right? Look for something in that area. Right? And that would be a break of, break of 117.11. And again, it coincides with the other Harry Potter trade back here that we built. So, again, it's got a bit of room to run on this one. It's got about 50 pips. I would say this is probably more of a morning time tomorrow. This one will probably have a little bit of an end-of-day rally, but in the overnight, this will be an interesting kind of setup. Now, if it does turn right here at the 1783 and goes back up again, no harm, no foul. What I'd be looking for is dropping it down to an hourly. And again, Could I take this, this mini short right here? Yeah, there's a mini short right here that I could have taken earlier today and got in. But would I take it again? Probably not, because it's in the middle of the range. I think waiting for this guy up here at 118.51, I think is a better option to go short. If we get if we get a turnaround, get a bounce. And again, here's an example: emotion down, emotion back up again. Okay, that's what we're looking for in the pound pairs. But this one right now, I'd say there's probably going to be some movement. Not tons though. Probably not enough to trade in the overnight. But again, I'd be looking for shorts 118.51 or shorts down here at 117.11. Now, dollar CAD has had monster movement, right? Monster movement. As you can see, we had this Harry Potter level. Here's where it triggered, and not only did it go to the 1 to 5, it went all the way up and is now taking levels out up here on an hourly basis. I think is it a 4-hour too? No, it kind of it is. It kind of is. What I would do is I would establish the top on this one. Probably, and again, I would not be using this. This was a level it's there. It was a great target, but I wouldn't be using that for the actual flip on it. 30 minutes. Top on that one, probably not. I'd be looking for this level in here, guys. I think 132.17 is a much better area to start getting short off of. Actually, let me clean this here. So again, this was a Harry Potter long that we were talking about. Came all the way up and then boom, off to the races on that one. So that one is good. We will move this across and talk about this as an area of interest for later on down the road. Again, we want this for profit targets later. We're going to leave that one on. We'll put this right here so we can see it. Again, these were our profit targets. They ended up getting blown through. So, hey, not much we can do about that one. Let's do the overlay. There. Why is it not? I don't know why that one's not accelerating forward, but we know that the zone is sitting right there. Okay. Right there. Drop it down to the hourly. Oh, you can see it right there. The 132.17, again, kind of the same idea, same principle. Now, we have news tomorrow morning. Back in. We have this tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. So, is this the run up before the strength coming in? I would say this is probably a decent call right now. It's got about 25 more pips to move. I would say if we can get up in this area, this zone is about 26, so it's a little bit big. It would be something I'd be willing to take in probably a binary. I would like us to kind of flatline right now. I would like us to kind of, or even maybe pull back a little bit, and then tomorrow in the morning, if we can rally up into this zone, this would be a pretty interesting short for that the BOC information. I do think with as much movement as we've had today, again, this is U.S. traders coming online. There is a reversal here. It's just going to be about the timing of this one, right? It's going to be about the timing getting in. But again, we're looking to, basically overtake this. We're looking to overtake that off of this level up top. Okay. This. Let's do this. Let's change this so it is pink, so everybody's on the same page. Looking to kind of overtake really this level right here. That, and we'll turn this one to green. All right, dollar Swiss. Now, dollar Swiss is interesting. Okay, dollar Swiss, for the most part, had been rallying higher. Now, it didn't grab a clean entry. The reason why we're seeing this one kind of roll and flip right now, and again, if you look at this, it happened about 2 hours ago. This is what I'm looking at right now. Okay. Now, when the U.S. pokes fingers at China and China pokes fingers back, because again, if the U.S. penalizes Chinese companies of doing this, China doesn't care where it comes from. China is going to take and retaliate somewhere back against us at some point. Okay. Doesn't matter what it is, because again, otherwise it's going to show weakness, right? They're going to have to stab back at us. That's why we're seeing this one continue to push to the downside. And again, over the last couple of hours, I would be short this position. Okay. I'm not right now. Okay. The way that this is pulled back, and again, you guys can see it up the last 2 hours, it's been pushing to the downside. I do think that this one will come back down. I do think that this is a great target down here at 91.29. And I do think eventually we could get back down here, this 90.85, that Harry Potter that we had talked about and set up, previously in the past. And again, there's a break of 91.21 where I think it's not a bad short, but I'd be very, very cautious with the area for below here. So for me, it's kind of like if we can get a nice little pullback entry, yeah, I'm okay taking this short, right? There's this 8 pip zone down here that you would definitely want to target yourself, but even this is kind of, I think, the bigger level that you want to make sure that you are out. Right, I'm going to turn this yellow because this is kind of a not so much an entry, but hey, listen, you need to be cautious of this area. Get yourself out, right? And that is coming in here at 91.12. Again, nice push down. Things we can do with this one. Again, I think there's what do we got here? We got about 36 pips to grab on the bottom side. Again, it's bouncing off of a level, so again, it is a technical short. It did just miss an entry, but with U.S. and China poking back and forth, I do see a nice little short in this one. Okay, now dollar yen. Dollar yen has just gotten hammered back to the downside, right? It didn't get into the levels that we were looking for. It did grab kind of this mini level here, and again, this is not a level that I would have taken a trade off of. I would have just waited for the one at the up top. It ended up turning off of this, and at this point, again, it is kind of pushing into kind of this range right here. Okay, and again, what happened? This was a nice rally up, a pullback, and a punch higher, and again, it was tested. So you can kind of see the tops and bottoms of this one. For intraday levels, I would say that this 105.87 was a great target to the downside on the short. This was a lot of movement, and again, would I have picked this level as where I would turn? No. Is it a zone? Yeah. Did it get pushed to the very, very brink? Yeah. Twice? Yeah. So I wouldn't really focus on it as much. At this point, again, end of the day rally kind of in this one is possible, but kind of things that I'm looking for here is, again, you know, is there a short here? Yeah, there is, and I think that's probably viable. But right now, I'm kind of saying the upper range for me for sells is kind of 106, 106.45. I think if we get back into this level here again, I think we got to be thinking taking shorts, from here down. Vice versa, if we're able to kind of punch through this level and break through this 105.77 ish area, again, a breakthrough, a pullback, and a drop, that could be, again, a nice short possibility going down to 105.35. If we hit 105.35, the last time the price is here, not only did it gap in and launch, it pulled down and tested again, I think is also an area where we need to get long. Now, again, confirmation entry, Harry Potter confirmation down. Okay, now it could go up and punch through again this way. So, I mean, again, it's a very interesting level, the way that it's holding. I'm curious to see if we are going to be able to hold. I would say I'm probably more bearish in this one, but again, there's a there is a if there is a knockout sitting down here for low risk, it could be worth a shot higher if it comes back and retests this zone at this point. It's there. Okay, it's there. I do like it more to the short side, and again, I think longs down here at 105.35, shorts at 106.42. That there is an intraday trade, breaking through this 105.76. All right, let's go across to gold. So look at this, gold. Well, we had levels down here. We had this Harry Potter trade set up, and remember, the thing about the Harry Potters is we need breaks, right? It tagged, and again, this is that Powell speech, right? There's, that was the craziness, right, that we saw. Again, came back up. Harry Potter, a couple different short entries in here. We had targets down here at 112, 1912, and again, we touched and went away, and that's what we ran into today. It went just a little bit low, and it did not break it. It went to the very, very brink. So there was no Harry Potter entry, but there was the bounce off the top side. So kind of the same thing. Gold spiking like this over the last 3 hours. I would say this is a very emotional response. Now the question is, where do we get short out of this from? Okay, because again, big push like this, we tend to see retraces. Again, big push up, retrace back down again. Big spike up down to here, and again, helped us retrace, and then we retrace back up. There is a level to get short in here. I don't know if, again, this is going to be the turning point. Being 1 o'clock, it's close. Let's say right now. That's close to a potential turnaround. I kind of like this one a little bit farther of an extension, kind of further. I kind of like this one a little bit more. I'm kind of worried that because this one has rallied literally just straight up in 3 hours, I feel like this one may leave the station without us. But that's kind of what I'm looking at right now, guys, as far as potential entries on this one. Okay. waiting for price to come up a little bit higher. Again, if you're okay with minor risk on this one, this is a viable level. But I think 1946 would probably be a little bit better of an area. We can see that the last time the price got up, I mean, it just got hammered back down again. I think that may be a little bit safer. There will be some students of mine that, again, they love the aggressive entries, especially with Nadex, if they can get in for something with very, very minor risk on this one. Only caveat, again, is it is 1 o'clock in the afternoon, so we are starting to run out of steam a little bit. This has been just straight up in one direction off this open today. So, looking for a reversal in gold. I think either of those two is good. Longer term on this one, again, you guys can see that we are definitely not at the all-time highs when we were back up in here. Are we going to get up there right away? I just don't know. And with that, with the inflation number being much, much lower, I think people are already starting to prepare of, hey, listen, if we're going to short this, we need to jack the price up because, the retail trader won't see that inflation is getting lower. All they'll see is, oh my God, gold's up 10% in the last 2 days. I need to get into this one. I need to buy it. And then all of a sudden it goes and turns and flips and rolls on them. So I think either of those two is good. Looking at silver. Okay, silver, we had this Harry Potter trade. We are looking for it to go lower. Did not get the entry, right? Did not get the entry. As you guys can see, what do we need? And I mention this every week. Harry Potter trade setups. Whoops. We need price to punch through, right? And we need it to base and stabilize and then pull up, right? How many times have I drawn you guys triangles, right? Let's go in one more. I've drawn triangles, right? I say, hey, listen, price needs to come down, it needs to go around, it needs to come back up again. This just spiked and did one candle. So again, not an entry. It did happen to hit a zone, which is the funny part, that we did have a zone sitting right here that we had marked off, that's what it bounced off of. Would I have taken that for a long? No, not really. I was still waiting for this thing to get short. And again, we don't have the entry. We're still waiting for the entry to kick in. Now, silver-wise, where would I get short in silver? A little bit more. There's a little bit more in this one. As you can see, again, we've had an area here. I marked this off. This is, we've based here. We've based here. Probably, I don't know. I mean, probably here. Like I said, 2708 is, you can see that again, nice top, based, hammered its way down, touched it, and just completely just fell through the floor. There's probably the short there, but I think this one is going to be a little bit more time sensitive. Again, you can see that it's just exploding higher again when traders come back. Don, basically what I mean by Harry Potter, it's a momentum breakout, okay? A lot of times, again, my style of trading uses supply and demand, and you'll see that basically this is an area that has been supported, right? Great buying, price came down and it was a floor, 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 and it was a floor. Eventually, the buyers that are sitting in this yellow area disappear, right? And when they're no longer buyers, they tend to become sellers in that same area. Okay, so what and the reason I call it a Harry Potter is, again, I'm not going to bring the picture of it up, but like on Harry's head, he's got this, right? Harry has a lightning bolt on his head, right? Well, this kind of lightning bolt is what I use for these type of trades. So what I'm looking for is a price to basically come below. I'm looking for price to pull back again. And that same area that used to be buyers is now my level of risk for selling. So it comes across and it looks like this. Okay. Now, again, when it spikes through like this, that's not the entry because what did it do? Did it come down, base a little bit, and then go looking for more? No, it just spiked through. Okay. So this is a Harry Potter entry over here. We just haven't gotten it yet. Okay. So hopefully that makes sense. But again, silver, I think 2708 is the next area where we're looking to short. Now, let me pull oil across real quick. And again, we're getting a little bit late in the tooth. Let's see. Oh, you know what? It's over here. Forgot that we've been doing it on a different chart. Let me pull up. All right. So bring this across. Let's go back down to our time frames and to look at some things like that. So oil is now down at 36. Okay, we had mentioned last week, and we had numerous levels. Actually, the last time, let's bring this back up. We'll go to 4 hours. The last time that we met, we were sitting over here. Okay, over in this area. Actually, I can probably reach it by 1 hour. Let's see. Yeah. Right in here. So we were stuck in this level, right? And we were talking about how we kind of had a top and bottom here. And this is kind of how we progress, guys, right? So, I mean, again, we had one level here, and again, we went up and we grabbed the upper level. And as you can see, we bounced and kind of bounced again. And again, we're still staying in that same kind of range. And then we bounced lower. And again, the old became the new, kind of that Harry Potter trade, right? Here was the area that we're looking for, and again, we used the lower time frame to create this level. Again, we burst through, grabbed it, and went lower. Came back up, touched it again. Now, nothing is holding to the downside. We are just blowing through targets. Now, is this a justified drop? And the answer is, I don't know. Like, I just don't feel like it is, right? The reason why we looked at this level before, at some of these levels is going back, we had some strong levels here. Now, again, it's going to be a while before we can hit these because it's been a while since we've been back here. Looking at these levels, I mean, we can see the prices down here. I mean, there was like levels here, levels here, levels here, levels here, levels here. So there was a lot of support for this. We're down like $5, $6 from the time that we were talking. We were up in the 43s, and now we're down and we're talking about the 36s. What's happened during that time? I mean, about the only thing that's happened, right? I mean, you can see right now, look at this. Look at this. 6% down $2.50. I mean, we don't have oil inventory reports later this week. I mean, what happened? Did we all of a sudden find a whole lot of extra fields in Ohio or something like that? Like, there's not a whole lot justifying this move, okay? But we have to look at these lower levels. You can see that there are some levels here, but the next time we have some like really clean levels that have been tested are all the way down here at 34.60. Now, there's a minor level. Again, there is a, I'm going to put this as we'll just do it as array. There is a level sitting here, and I'm going to change this, and we're gonna make it kind of like a fuzzy green, right? And we'll do another right here. There's a minor level down here at this 36.10 and 35.88, but the first level we have tested clean on the 30-minute is really 34.62. If we move all the way across again, right? Let me shrink this back down. Go all the way across. You can see there's that minor level that I drew. What did we bounce off of? That level. Okay. We have a couple days till inventory. And isn't that amazing? Look at that. I didn't have anything drawn down here. I just went back and drew that, and look where we bounced off of. Okay. The next clean level is down here at 34.62. So this could be a pretty big drop. And what do you think oil inventory reports look like this week if we're going down here? I mean, do you guys know what oil looked like last week? I don't know if you guys know what it looked like last week or not. Let me go forward. Where is it? Crude oil. Right. Here was the report last week. We were down 9.4 million barrels. Right? Our surplus went down 9.4 million barrels. And what was the result? Look at this. We're running out of supply, but what the heck is happening? Look at this. Boom. So, if this week, the forecast, the analysts decide, holy crap, we missed it by 7 million barrels last week, we need to raise it up, what happens if we miss in the other direction? What happens this week, because everybody going back, what happens if we have a surplus? Can we see 34.62? The answer is probably. Now, a lot of this is, it looks like it's an emotional response. So again, could this be a bouncing area? Yeah, it absolutely could. Could we move? Sure. Yeah. Could it go back up again? Yeah. There's a level sitting up here. And again, this is a minor level. I'm going to mark it off. But again, this is a very minor level sitting in this level right here. Could that be where we roll off of? Sure. And that's 37.29 up to 37.68. All right. So look at those things again, guys. This one has been very interesting to play. But at this point, if we can't punch any higher and we get a green pullback that does not go as high as this green, I think we got to be looking for more shorts. And again, potential targets down to 34.62. Now, if we can get down to 34.62 on Thursday, you better bet I'm looking for longs. You better bet I'll be looking for something to go long there. Buyers have stepped in the past. This is a heck of a drop this week, and there's really nothing out there that's really telling me that, hey, listen, it's free oil for everybody, guys. Free oil. We just found, billions and billions of barrels in Ohio. Maybe Mississippi, something like that. Who knows, right? Middle of the country. So, again, oil is definitely an interesting story. But we finally left, and again, I can remove all these things up here. We spent forever and ever and ever. Look at this. Forever and ever. Look at this. Boom, 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 boom. Pinball back and forth off many levels up top. And now we finally have blown through, gotten many entries. And again, here's a great example of that old level. Old buyers became new sellers. Boom, 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 straight to the downside. And look at that. Whew. All the way back down to where we saw buyers were, again, fresh, all the way back. And let's see, when did they hit this? June 20th. June 20th, guys. And then, again, we're coming back down the early, June 15th. June 15th. Getting back to those levels. All right, guys. So with that being said, that is it for us for today. Again, mark your calendars. Next week we will not have a session at noon. Next week will be part of the Nadex Education Summit that you guys should be getting invitations to. I will be the keynote speaker for day one. Day one, it goes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm talking at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I am doing a presentation on gold and oil in the COVID-19 era. So there's some remarkable information to present, things that I am just absolutely blown away when I did the research and was putting the slide deck together. Forecasts of what demand looked like even before COVID came out look really, really bad. And now that COVID came out, it's even crazier. So some really cool stuff to talk about next week. Hope to see you guys then. You guys take care. Have a great trading week, and I'll see you next week.